UCLA, UCLA, UCLA. I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this day. Sean Foster, get out of here, bud. Nico, you're garbage, buddy. UCLA's fan base, we all know it's trash, but like, come on now. Virginia Tech, Brent Pre, like, you thought Kyron Drones was the guy at quarterback? You thought that guy could get it done? He's all right. But I told you. And then you had to get blasted by Old Dominion, too. UCLA, of course, got blasted by New Mexico. It is what it is there. But, like, we all knew that was happening. You guys, it's Old Dominion, guys. Old Dominion. It's Old Dominion. And I mean, it is what it is at this point. Like, come on. Get with the program. Be a Power 5 school, both of you. Shame. Shame on you both. Well, other than that, aside from Diego Pavia, probably using up all his eligibility. Yes, they beat the Perks off of South Carolina, though. Commodores of Vanderbilt, who are also surprisingly undefeated. I mean, it's not surprising considering the rise of the Pavia train last season, the way things have been going this year. I don't know. Week 3 taught us a lot. I was not here for most of it, though. I was definitely here for the whatever DJ Lagway was doing, against LSU with the 5 interceptions. Yes, LSU's offense is putrid with Garrett Nussmeier at the helm, but at the same time, LSU's defense is for real. A&M somehow got the win over Notre Dame. Yeah, there was a late call that didn't go, a certain way, and A&M won this game. Why is Notre Dame still ranked, though? I have no idea. Just absolutely no clue. And, they're facing Notre Dame's facing Purdue this week. They're not a complete slouch because, it's still Purdue, but, like, just FYI, it's not a complete crazy thing. Bo Prabula and those Missouri Tigers thought we were going to get a top 25 matchup between them and South Carolina. That is not happening. South Carolina got blitzed from the rankings. Norris Sellers also suffered a injury during said game, and it's like, yeah, it was rough. I mean, I don't know how long Mans will be out for, but that momentum, head injury, don't know how long, that could, derail things. And Clark Lee's, Vanderbilt football team is just on a roll. There's a legit chance Vanderbilt could be doing something crazy this season. You know what I'm saying? Crazy stuff for Vanderbilt. They catapulted it into the top 20. I mean, I can trust them way more than LSU's offense right now. Yeah, Vanderbilt's had some things going wrong. Speaking of teams that have things going completely wrong for them, there's another couple teams that have things going completely wrong for them. Iowa State, don't know what that was against Arkansas State. That was not good at all. I don't know what that performance was, but like getting into high gear. You should not be winning by only 8. Same thing with you, Texas. Same thing with you, my Longhorns. What is this play calling, Sark? Arch looks dreadful out there half the time. Yeah, he can run the ball in the end zone and stuff like that. You should not be throwing interceptions and stuff like that against UTEP and bad passes and, 5-yard passes that receivers can't even haul in because, the throw is so bad. And again, Texas, don't know. Again, I already don't know why Texas was ranked number 1 to begin the season. I don't know why Arch, was, given the hype that he was when we all should have looked at the couple games that he had last season and see that it's not all the way there. And that's really been the big thing this entire season. The QB class is not all the way there, guys. It's not. Like, yeah, Ty Simpson destroyed Wisconsin with a 4 TD pass performance. But it's Wisconsin. Wisconsin has regressed back to the mean of being, Wisconsin. Like, that's not a big achievement at all at this point. You have Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes, just absolutely beating the brakes off of South Florida. No three-piece combo, unfortunately. I would have loved that, but no. But can you trust Carson Beck in the NFL as of this moment? No, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't. And I've been saying this for like 3 or 4 seasons now that these QB classes are not it. They're just not. Some of these classes are not it. You get a diamond in the rough every now and then, like Jaden Daniels last season, or a couple years ago, actually. And, he goes rough shot, in college, and during his last season of college, and then, starts running rough shot in the NFL. It's like, I just don't see some of these quarterback classes. Julian Sand and the Ohio State Buckeyes are still number one. They didn't look too great against Ohio for a good chunk of that game. Did not look great. And yet, because of the power of talent, Ohio State wins because it's Ohio State. Austin Simmons didn't even start for Ole Miss, but, they beat Arkansas. It's Arkansas, though. Luke Altmaier and these Illinois Fighting Illini are intriguing. You have an intriguing offense with Caden Fee, and we're going to be watching Illinois, Indiana on Saturday night. It's going to be an intriguing Illinois offense that could put up a lot of points against an Indiana offense that has been they've been all right. They've been all right. Fernando Mendoza has been just he's one of those guys. And last year, in the group of 5, he was tearing it up. But there's also, guys like Omar Cooper Jr., who have been on a tear, lately. He caught 4 touchdown passes against Indiana State, which is insane. And that was a Friday night game. So now a top 20 matchup between Indiana and Illinois is set to occur this week, and it's going to be intriguing. Jackson Arnold, John Mateer, 2 young quarterbacks that have a lot of intriguing qualities to them. Auburn and Oklahoma. Oklahoma definitely has more of a defense, though. There's no Harold Perkins on that line, but, Oklahoma still has a very solid defense. Auburn, maybe it has a little bit more to prove on defense at this moment, but it's still the SEC, and a lot of SEC teams are ranked and everything like that. USC's going to take on Michigan State in a Saturday night game. A Saturday night game. Yeah. And it's going to be at 11 o'clock at night, which gets the Michigan State fans, riled up. Penn State, Drew Aller and company, it's literally Villanova. Dog, Penn State does not impress me right now. They have a lot of talent, but they just don't impress me. And, they're going to get the tough tests in a moment, but, I don't see it right now. Georgia, Gunnar Stockton and those dogs from Georgia outlasted Joey Aguilar and the Tennessee Volunteers in overtime, which, Tennessee probably should have kicked that field goal when they needed to. But, it is what it is. Whatever. That's Tennessee's problem. They can't beat Georgia. Can't beat Georgia when it matters. Texas Tech, that NIL money is doing crazy things. Baron Morton is still at Texas Tech, and he is still putting up crazy numbers. These are some crazy numbers against Malik Murphy and those Oregon State Beavers. Shout out to my UNT Mean Green also for beating the brakes off of Washington State. Showing that the Pac-12 is kind of mid, which we already knew. But Texas Tech, gets an intriguing matchup this week to start Big 12 play as Devin Dampier, and those Utah Utes. Oh, yes. They're coming. They're playing, at home against Texas Tech. And it's going to be a top 20 matchup between these two teams to start the day. Big 12, yeah, Iowa State's there, but there's been a lot of one-score games again, for the Cyclones. Can you trust them on offense? Can you trust them? I don't know. Texas Tech has a little bit more promise because of all that NIL money and all those guys that are there and everything like that. Utah, Kyle Winningham, is still, doing his thing, which is crazy. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, this Utah team is an intriguing bunch and this game is a very intriguing one, not only the Big 12 race, but the college football playoff race. You have two undefeateds, and something's got to give. We're already 4 weeks into the season. We're already getting close to October, and October is when things really start getting high here. Again, Auburn, Oklahoma is another big one. Tulane taking on Ole Miss. Oh, yeah. That's going to be a good one right there. Will Austin Simmons be back? I have no idea. Dylan Raiola and those Nebraska Cornhuskers. A lot of people are putting hype into the Cornhuskers. Bryce Underwood and those Michigan Wolverines, doing a lot better, after their loss to Oklahoma. But it's going to be a big one in Big Ten play. Definitely if you're, on your couch all day, pair that up with a Notre Dame team that should not be ranked right now. Or even, again, that Auburn-Oklahoma game, which is probably better for you if you want to pair something up with something. We already talked about Illinois, Indiana. Again, it's Billy Napier. Again, DJ Lagway looks terrible, 5 interceptions against LSU. That hot seat is cooking right now. He's already getting basted. Basted and pasted. Season. Billy Napier is, if he loses this game against Miami, it's over. Just go ahead and put the fries in the bag. Go ahead and put the fries in the bag, Billy. That pistol offense that you've been implementing is just not doing it. DJ Lagway, no. It's gonna be rough. And if Vanderbilt loses to Georgia State again, I'm gonna throw some apples at somebody. I'm gonna throw some apples or something like that. What do you throw at a Commodore? What do you throw at the Anchors? You just throw them back in the water or something like that. I don't know. But in any case, college football, another week is almost here. We got games all day Saturday, from sun up to sun down in the middle of the night. That's going to be intriguing. Michigan State, USC, you want to look at that, late at night. It's going to be fun. Going to be watching that. It's going to be good. Watch out for the group of 5, Tulane, Texas, who else? The Naval Academy, Memphis, There's some teams from the AAC at least that, are looking really, really good so far. But, still have a long ways to go, a long season. We're only about 25% there for most teams, you know what I'm saying? And, it's kind of saddening that Clemson, lost the way they did, though. You let Haynes King get battered and bruised, and you lose like that. Absolutely hilarious. But that's just me. 1-2 Clemson is always good to see. So, for me to you, I don't know why California is 3-0, but yeah, we're going to get up out of here and enjoy the rest of the night. So, good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to talk a crazy week 2 in the NFL. Just a crazy, crazy, crazy time for week 2,